On Monday mornings, 8 politicians leave the northwest of England to represent you in this place, the European Parliament in Brussels. At least, some of them do anyway. Because since the Brexit referendum in June 2016, some of your MEPs have been making this journey less and less. So I'm travelling from Manchester Airport to Brussels to find out where they are when they're not here and why they think being paid £80,000 a year to only vote half of the time is justified. Most of your North West MEPs have a very good voting record, but UKIP's Paul Nuttall and Louise Bours are the exception. Since the referendum, they have the worst voting turnout not just in the North West, but in the whole of the European Union. Of the 748 MEPs here, only 3 have a worse record. And since the referendum, their attendance has dropped by 22.6% and 16% respectively. I arrive in Brussels hoping to find them, to ask them why. So it's 4 o'clock and inside this room here is the meeting of the Committee on Regional Development. They meet a couple of times a month. Now Paul Nuttall is a member of this committee, so if he is in Brussels, he should be in here. So we're going to find out if he is. Inside, there's no sign of Mr. Nuttall. He's been a member of this committee since September, but missed both November and December's votes. Elsewhere in the Parliament, there's no sign that Louise Bours has turned up for work here either. The next day, we head back into the European Parliament for day 2 of the Regional Development Committee, and this time we find Paul Nuttall back in his rightful place. But as the voting starts, it's clear he isn't taking this whole process particularly seriously. Outside, I ask the former UKIP leader, who's recently deleted his website and his Twitter account, for an interview.
So we're here to talk about your voting record, which is 42% since Brexit, which is one of the lowest in the whole of the European Parliament.
Yeah.
So I'm here to ask you why your voting record is so bad compared to other MEPs. I mean, it's one of the worst in the whole European Parliament. It is. It's 42%.
Yeah.
Do you think that's good enough for the people of the North West?
A lot of the stuff we vote on has got nothing to do with Britain anymore.
Okay. So do you still take your £80,000 a year, though?
Yeah, I do, because I represent the people of the North West.
But how do you represent them if your record is 42%?
Because I do it in other ways. I deal with constituency work as
So
well.
what have you done recently?
And by the way, listen. By the way, a lot of the stuff that goes on in the European Parliament's own initiative reports, right? It came in with the Lisbon Treaty all these years ago. In reality, they don't really matter that much. What matters is...
So why are you here then? If they don't matter, why do you take your £80,000 a year? And you're barely here, Paul. I mean, 42% is your voting record since Brexit.
What's Jeremy Corbyn's voting record in Parliament?
What's that?
It's less than mine.
How is that relevant
It's less
to
than
you
mine.
being here?
Look, do you know
do
what?
you think the people of the North West are
Yeah,
represented by someone who
what?
thinks that 60% of the time
Do you know what?
there is no point in coming to Brussels
Do you know
and there is
what?
no point in voting
Do you know
on
what?
things?
Do you know
You
what?
take your
Do you know-
£80,000 a year.
Do you know what? I'm worth every single penny to the people of the North West. Do you know why? Because if it wasn't for people like me, Brexit wouldn't have happened, and that's the most important thing.
So in terms of your
No.
position,
Listen.
do you
listen,
think... No, I'm
listen.
asking you a second question.
The other lot can wonder.
This is part of being a politician, is being held to account.
And I won Brexit.
You
I
won
helped
Brexit, okay.
win Brexit. That's the most important thing. So the others can faff around, vote on issues that don't matter, vote on issues that go beyond 2020, right? Mm-hmm. Which don't matter to Britain at all. The point is, I'm worth every single penny because I helped get Brexit.
We wanted to put the same questions to his colleague Louise Bours, but for a second day we can't find her anywhere. I contact 3 UKIP press officers. One eventually tells me she is indeed back in the North West and won't be coming to Brussels this week. I asked them why. In a statement, she said, "Voting records are no indication of attendance, and nor are they a way of measuring the quality of an MEP. Not all votes in the European Parliament lead to legislation in any case, so it is often a futile exercise. Finally, it is also my personal view that after Article 50 was triggered last March, British MEPs should not be voting on anything that will be enacted once the UK has finally left the EU, following the transition deal in 2020. For Paul Nuttall and Louise Bours, Brexit means there are fewer and fewer reasons to be in Brussels. But that is not even the opinion of most of their UKIP colleagues here, whose attendance on the whole is well above 75%. For most British MEPs, they believe that since that Brexit referendum, their job, for which they are paid around £80,000 a year, is to be here more, not less, as the decisions being made now will impact on their constituents for many years to come. Paul Nuttall told us that half the time people like you, and to quote him, are faffing around
voting on stuff that doesn't affect the North West.
This is North West MEP Theresa Griffin, who has a voting record of 98%.
Are you faffing around here?
I'm absolutely not faffing around here. I am writing legislation. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, we wrote about 50 amendments, which is about the rights of disabled passengers when they travel, to make sure that access is right for them. Any disabled passenger that's passed through an airport in the northwest of England to go anywhere else, their lives will be materially better because of the amendments that we wrote and we will vote on.
I think it's essential that we're still here for a number of reasons. The first is there will be votes that go through to Strasbourg which will create laws and legislation which British companies and businesses and individuals will still have to comply with even when we've left.
But that is not how Louise, Bours and Paul Nuttall see it. They intend to see out the next 12 months in office, but most of the time, here in Brussels, it'll be in name only. Daniel Hewitt, ITV News, the European Parliament.